What if the beginning of civilization is not where we think it is? What if the story of humanity, as it has been told, begins not in Sumer, but in the shadow of something far older, something deliberately forgotten? The clay tablets we admire in museums whisper of kings who reigned for thousands of years, of ages when the sky was closer and the gods walked among men. Yet the official record insists that civilization began around 5,000 years ago. Between these two versions of time lies a silence, a gap so wide that no textbook dares to bridge it. You stand at the edge of this chasm now, whether you realize it or not, as Dr. Bradford Summers once did when he first brushed the ancient dust from a tablet that would change everything he thought he knew about the past. The Sumerian king list is one of the strangest documents ever unearthed. Etched into ancient clay, it catalogues the rulers of Mesopotamia, not as ordinary men, but as beings of impossible longevity. After the kingship descended from heaven, the tablet begins, the kings ruled for 24,820 years. 8 kings, each said to have reigned for thousands upon thousands of years, ruled before a great flood swept the earth clean. To the scholars who unearthed it, the text read like mythology. To others, it felt like memory, the echo of something too vast to fit within accepted timelines. Archaeologists found several versions of this list, from Sumer to Babylon, each repeating the same strange numbers. The city of Eridu, they said, was the first to hold kingship, the first city in the world. Its ruler, Alulim, reigned for 2,880 years, his successor, Alalgar, for 3,600. Then came the flood. The pattern was too consistent, too structured to be dismissed as simple myth-making. And yet, what else could it be? The soil of Mesopotamia still bears traces of a flood layer, thick with river silt, suggesting that a deluge indeed struck this land around 10,000 years before written history. That same layer appears in sites across the Near East. But how could such an event predate civilization itself, unless civilization existed before the flood? Modern history marks its beginning with Sumer around 3200 BCE, when writing and organized city-states first emerged. But the king list speaks of kingdoms that existed before the deluge, ruled by beings whose reigns defy biology. It does not describe them as gods, not entirely, but as kings who descended from heaven. The phrasing is careful. It implies arrival, not creation. Descent, not birth. When the tablets were first translated, most dismissed them as legend. But the numbers are not random. They follow a base 60 system, the same mathematical foundation that Sumerians used for time and astronomy. A 3,600-year reign might represent celestial cycles encoded into narrative form. The same cycle appears in Vedic texts, Egyptian calendars, and even Mayan long count systems, each describing epochs of rise and fall, as if the ancients were all remembering fragments of the same event. The question, then, is not whether these stories are literal, but what they are preserving. Could they be records of dynasties that ruled before the last great cataclysm, before the younger Dryas? When sea levels rose 100 meters and glaciers collapsed across continents around 12,800 years ago, something struck the Earth. A comet, or perhaps fragments of one, ignited global fires and ended an age. The event is carved in ice cores, scattered across geology, and reflected in myths from nearly every culture. To the modern mind, this was prehistory. To the people who survived it, it was apocalypse. If the Sumerian king list remembers an age before that flood, it means human civilization, or something like it, existed before the earth was struck. It means knowledge, architecture, and law may not have begun in Sumer, but survived there. The kings who descended from heaven might not be gods at all, but survivors, the bearers of memory from a world that burned. Eridu, the city said to be first among all, lies buried beneath layers of sediment that predate its supposed founding. Beneath its ruins, archaeologists have found traces of older temples, older foundations. Each layer of construction sits upon another, reaching deeper into an unknown past. It is as if the first city was built upon the memory of an earlier one, a mirror image of something drowned. And what of the kings themselves? Could they represent dynasties stretching across millennia, with reigns later misinterpreted as single lifetimes? Or could the exaggeration mask something else, a deliberate coding of astronomical time, where one reign might mark a full precessional cycle of the Earth's wobble? The ancients did not measure years as we do. They saw time as a circle, not a line. Their gods did not die. They simply returned when the stars aligned again. There are ruins on every continent that seem to remember the same architecture. Megalithic stones fitted without mortar. Astronomical alignments tracking solstices. Myths of gods who came from the sky to teach humanity agriculture, mathematics, and law. The Sumerians called them the Anunnaki, those who came from above. The Egyptians spoke of the Neteru, the Greeks of the Titans. The names differ, but the structure remains. A race of beings who ruled, taught, and then vanished. Perhaps the king list was never meant as a literal record, but as a mnemonic, a way of preserving memory through symbol in a world shattered by cataclysm. How does one remember what was lost? Maybe by writing it in myth, by turning history into story, by placing the gods in the heavens so their memory cannot drown. And yet, the precision of the numbers lingers. The repetition across texts defies coincidence. There is a strange logic beneath the poetry, one that suggests the Sumerians inherited their own past from someone else, someone who had seen the flood come before. When Dr. Bradford Summers first examined the sealed chamber beneath Eridu's ziggurat in 2019, he wasn't searching for gods. He was a practical man, former military intelligence turned independent archaeologist, funded by a consortium of petroleum geologists who'd made disturbing discoveries during routine drilling operations. Their seismic surveys had revealed geometric anomalies beneath the ancient site. Perfectly rectangular voids, chambers that shouldn't exist according to conventional chronology. You might wonder how such discoveries remain hidden from public view. The answer lies in the peculiar geography of modern Iraq, a nation where archaeological sites often fall within restricted zones, where decades of conflict have created convenient barriers to academic scrutiny. Independent researchers like Summers operate in these gray spaces, pursuing questions that mainstream institutions prefer to avoid. The bitumen seal that had protected the chamber for millennia proved more sophisticated than anything the Sumerians were supposed to possess. When Summers's team finally breached it using ultrasonic drilling, a technique borrowed from petroleum extraction, they found themselves face to face with preservation technology that shouldn't have existed 5,000 years ago, much less 12,800. Inside, Professor Helena Winters, the world's foremost expert in pre-dynastic cuneiform, discovered tablets that challenged everything she'd spent 30 years studying. The inscriptions weren't just older than any known Sumerian text. They were written in a script that seemed to be the source from which all later writing systems derived. More unsettling still, the mathematical notations embedded within the texts demonstrated knowledge of astronomical cycles that wouldn't be rediscovered until the space age. The mathematics don't lie, Winters confided to her journal that first night in Baghdad. These tablets contain calculations for the precession of the equinoxes with extraordinary precision for the era. They track the orbital mechanics of planets invisible to the naked eye. Either our entire understanding of technological development is wrong, or someone else was doing the calculating. The tablets spoke of King Alulim not as the first ruler after a mythical flood, but as the last guardian before a very real catastrophe. They described his preparation for the time of fire and ice, when the star of crossing would bring devastation from the heavens. The texts outlined a preservation protocol, not just for artifacts and knowledge, but for bloodlines, for genetic continuities that would carry ancient wisdom through the dark centuries to come. Captain James Fletcher, retired Special Operations, had seen enough classified archaeological sites to know when discovery crossed into dangerous territory. The precision of the underground complex beneath Eridu reminded him of hardened military installations. These weren't the hasty excavations of desperate refugees. They were engineered sanctuaries, designed by minds that understood structural integrity, ventilation systems, and long-term preservation in ways that pushed against the boundaries of known ancient capabilities. Someone was planning for the long game, Fletcher reported to his wife, Sarah, a geographic information systems specialist whose satellite analyses had helped locate the site. This isn't a tomb, it's a time capsule, and whoever built it expected to come back. The deeper they dug, the more the site revealed its secrets. Dr. Michael Hartwell, whose petroleum surveys had first detected the anomalies, found his geological training challenged by what they uncovered. The construction techniques employed materials that shouldn't exist in nature, metal alloys with isotopic signatures that suggested controlled nuclear processes, crystalline structures that seemed to store information at a molecular level. The astronomical data embedded within Alulim's archives points to patterns that modern science is only beginning to recognize. Every 12,800 years, Earth passes through a debris field left by an ancient comet, a trail of cosmic material that periodically rains destruction from the skies. The last such event, the Younger Dryas impact, ended the Ice Age in a cascade of fire and flood. The next crossing approaches within decades. But Alulim's tablets suggest this cycle isn't random. It's predictable, trackable, survivable for those who prepare. The preservation technologies found beneath Eridu, the genetic archives, the mathematical models of celestial mechanics, all point to a civilization that understood these patterns and planned accordingly. They weren't primitive god kings ruling through superstition. They were sophisticated guardians of human continuity. You begin to understand that this isn't simply about ancient history. The implications ripple forward through time, touching questions about human potential, about cycles of knowledge and forgetting, about whether our species has walked this path before. The tablets beneath Eridu speak of such cycles, 12,800-year periods marked by cosmic events that reset civilization, forcing humanity to rebuild from fragments of memory. Sarah Fletcher's analysis of the site's orientation revealed another layer of intentional design. The chamber complex aligns precisely with astronomical markers that were significant 12,800 years ago, but invisible from the surface today. The builders weren't just preserving knowledge for their own time, they were encoding messages for a future moment when the stars would return to the same configuration. Our moment. It's like a clock, Sarah explained to the team during their final briefing. A massive stone clock counting down to a specific astronomical alignment. And according to these calculations, that alignment is happening now, in our lifetime. Professor Winters found the most unsettling evidence in the linguistic evolution tracked within the four tablets. The script didn't just preserve words, it preserved the genetic memory of language itself, tracking how human consciousness develops and expresses complex ideas. The tablets suggested that language, and perhaps consciousness itself, follows predictable cycles of expansion and contraction, sophistication, and simplification. They knew we would forget, Winters whispered as she worked through the final translations. They planned for our forgetting, but they also planned for our remembering. The sealed chamber contained one final element that none of them had expected: a preservation unit that had maintained biological samples across millennia. Dr. Hartwell's analysis revealed genetic material with markers unlike anything in modern human populations, DNA that suggested either ancient genetic engineering or the preservation of bloodlines that had evolved differently before the last great catastrophe. These samples weren't random. They were cataloged, labeled, stored with the precision of a modern genetic laboratory. Each container bore inscriptions linking the biological material to specific knowledge domains: astronomy, metallurgy, mathematics, consciousness manipulation. It was as if Alulim had preserved not just the tools of civilization, but the genetic predispositions necessary to rebuild it. Captain Fletcher recognized the military implications immediately. If this technology exists, if these genetic markers can be activated or replicated, it changes the strategic balance of everything. This isn't just archaeology anymore. This is a national security issue. But perhaps the most profound discovery lay in the chamber's central sanctum, where they found what could only be described as Alulim's final message. Not carved in stone or pressed into clay, but encoded into the crystalline structure of the chamber walls themselves, a message that could only be read using technologies that wouldn't exist until the 21st century. The message was simple, terrifying, and hopeful in equal measure. The cycle completes, the star returns. Those who remember will inherit the earth. Those who forget will inherit the wind. You stand now where Summers stood, at the threshold between one age of human understanding and another. The evidence is mounting, from the precise astronomical alignments found at sites worldwide to the genetic anomalies appearing in human populations with ancient Middle Eastern lineages, to the increasing frequency of cosmic debris entering Earth's atmosphere. The tablets speak of trigger events that mark the transition between cycles: the melting of polar ice, the shifting of magnetic fields, the appearance of new celestial bodies in familiar constellations. Each has begun manifesting within the past decade, as if following a schedule written in stone 12,800 years ago. Professor Winters spent her final months working to decode the activation sequences embedded within the genetic samples. Her research, classified immediately upon completion, suggested that certain bloodlines carry dormant capabilities: enhanced pattern recognition, extended lifespans, intuitive understanding of complex mathematical relationships. These traits, suppressed for millennia, could potentially be reactivated under specific conditions. Dr. Hartwell's geological surveys revealed that the Eridu site is one of dozens scattered across the globe, each positioned at specific coordinates that form a geometric pattern spanning continents. The sites in Peru, Egypt, Cambodia, and Turkey all show similar architectural anomalies, similar preservation technologies, similar evidence of advanced knowledge being deliberately buried and protected. The pattern suggests a global network, not a single civilization, but a coordinated effort by groups worldwide to preserve human potential through the dark period between cosmic cycles. Each site contains pieces of a larger puzzle, fragments of knowledge that become complete only when combined across cultures and continents. Captain Fletcher's security analysis revealed why this information has remained classified. The implications extend far beyond academic archaeology. If human consciousness truly follows predictable cycles, if genetic capabilities can be artificially enhanced, if cosmic events can be accurately predicted millennia in advance, then power structures built on scarcity and uncertainty become obsolete. Someone doesn't want this information public, Fletcher concluded in his final report. The question is whether that someone is protecting us from knowledge we're not ready for, or protecting their own interests from knowledge that would make their power irrelevant. Sarah Fletcher's computational models, based on the astronomical data from Alulim's archives, provide a specific timeline. The cosmic debris field reaches peak density between 2025 and 2030. The genetic activation sequences require precise timing. Too early, and the enhanced capabilities appear random, uncontrolled. Too late, and the population remains vulnerable to the approaching celestial catastrophe. The preservation protocols outlined in the tablets suggest that approximately 144,000 individuals worldwide carry the necessary genetic markers. This number appears repeatedly across ancient texts, a figure that seems to represent humanity's insurance policy, the seeds of the next cycle, should the current one fail to adapt. These bloodlines, scattered across continents through millennia of migration and intermarriage, remain largely unaware of their biological inheritance. You feel it now, perhaps, the weight of this knowledge pressing against the boundaries of comfortable ignorance. The ordinary world continues its routines, unaware that beneath the surface, ancient systems are stirring to life. The star charts align, the genetic markers activate, the cosmic clock ticks toward its appointed hour. Dr. Summers disappeared shortly after his final report was submitted. His last communication contained a single phrase, translated from the deepest levels of Alulim's archives: "The sleepers wake, and the dream becomes the dreamer." The phrase appears in various forms across multiple ancient cultures, a recursive loop of consciousness that suggests reality itself follows the same cyclical patterns as the cosmic events that reshape it. Professor Winters's final translation revealed the most unsettling aspect of the preservation protocols. The genetic enhancements weren't designed to create superhuman abilities. They were designed to restore abilities that humans once possessed naturally. The advancement of civilization hasn't been a progression toward greater capability, but a regression from capacities lost during the last catastrophic reset. The tablets suggest that before the Younger Dryas impact, human consciousness operated differently, more integrated with natural cycles, more capable of processing complex information intuitively, more connected to what we now categorize as separate phenomena: mathematics, music, biological processes, astronomical mechanics. The catastrophe didn't just destroy cities and technologies, it fragmented human awareness itself. Alulim's archives contain training protocols, methods for reintegrating these separated aspects of consciousness. The techniques combine meditation practices with specific mathematical exercises, biological rhythms with astronomical observations. Practitioners report enhanced pattern recognition, increased empathy, spontaneous understanding of complex systems. But the protocols come with warnings. Accelerated consciousness development without proper grounding can lead to psychological instability, temporal disorientation, difficulty distinguishing between memory and precognition. The ancient texts describe careful preparation periods, community support structures, gradual integration of enhanced capabilities. You realize now that this isn't just about rediscovering ancient knowledge, it's about rediscovering what it means to be human at our fullest potential. The cosmic cycles don't just reset civilization, they provide opportunities for consciousness itself to evolve, to remember capacities that lie dormant within every individual. The approaching celestial alignment offers such an opportunity. The question isn't whether humanity will survive the next cosmic crossing. The preservation technologies and genetic protocols ensure that some will. The question is whether we'll emerge from the transition as a species that has remembered its deeper nature, or one that continues to fragment into smaller and smaller pieces of what we once were. In the deepest chamber beneath Eridu, where Alulim's final message waits encoded in crystalline structures older than recorded history, time seems to pause. The future balances on the edge of the past, and the past reaches forward to embrace possibilities that haven't yet been born. The cycle completes, the star returns, and those who remember inherit the Earth. The precessional cycle of 25,920 years divides neatly into two phases of 12,960 years each. The last Great Reset occurred 12,800 years ago, close enough to the mathematical halfway point to suggest that these cosmic encounters follow astronomical mechanics rather than random chance. The slight variance of 160 years likely accounts for gravitational perturbations from other planetary bodies, making the next crossing imminent on cosmic timescales. Dr. Hartwell's geological analysis confirmed that similar debris impacts occur with remarkable regularity throughout Earth's history. The geological record shows impact signatures every 12,000 to 13,000 years, each corresponding to periods of mass extinction followed by rapid evolutionary advancement. The pattern suggests that these impacts aren't random cosmic accidents, but part of a larger celestial mechanism, a cosmic clockwork that periodically cleanses and renews the biosphere. Each reset eliminates dominant species that have reached evolutionary dead ends, while creating niches for rapid diversification among survivors. The mathematical elegance of this system implies design rather than chance. If Alulim's civilization understood these patterns, they may have developed technologies not just for survival, but for conscious participation in the renewal process. The genetic archives suggest they identified optimal human traits for post-catastrophe adaptation and preserved them in dormant form. Captain Fletcher's analysis of global archaeological sites revealed disturbing patterns in their geographic distribution. Each preservation site sits at coordinates that form a geometric network spanning the globe, a pattern that becomes visible only when plotted using modern satellite mapping. The network resembles a planetary acupuncture system, with each site positioned to influence regional consciousness fields during activation periods. They weren't just preserving knowledge, Fletcher reported. They were creating a planetary awakening system. When the cosmic alignment occurs, these sites will activate simultaneously, triggering consciousness enhancement across specific population centers. Sarah Fletcher's geographic modeling revealed the network's operational parameters. The sites are positioned along magnetic ley lines that amplify bioelectric fields during periods of increased cosmic radiation. The incoming debris field will bombard Earth with charged particles that naturally activate dormant neural pathways in individuals carrying the genetic markers. The process isn't random enhancement, it's targeted evolution. The genetic sequences preserved in Alulim's archives code for specific capabilities: enhanced electromagnetic sensitivity, intuitive mathematical processing, direct consciousness interface with quantum fields. These abilities would provide decisive advantages during the chaos following a cosmic impact. Professor Winters discovered that the activation process requires both genetic predisposition and environmental triggers. The cosmic radiation provides the energy, but consciousness must be properly prepared to channel it constructively. The ancient protocols include meditation techniques designed to align neural patterns with incoming cosmic frequencies. It's like tuning a radio, Winters explained in her final encrypted transmission. The cosmic event provides the broadcast signal, but consciousness must be calibrated to receive it clearly. Without proper preparation, the enhanced awareness becomes overwhelming, even dangerous. The training protocols preserved in Alulim's archives describe a careful process of consciousness expansion spanning multiple years. Students begin with basic meditation and mathematical visualization, gradually developing sensitivity to electromagnetic fields and quantum probability patterns. Advanced practitioners reportedly achieve direct telepathic communication and precognitive awareness of probability flows. But the protocols warn of serious risks. Premature activation can cause temporal displacement, consciousness becoming unstuck from linear time, experiencing past and future simultaneously. Other dangers include identity dissolution, where enhanced awareness becomes so vast that individual personality structure collapses. The ancient texts describe careful screening processes to identify suitable candidates for consciousness enhancement. Dr. Hartwell's geological surveys revealed underground chambers beneath each major preservation site, containing crystalline structures similar to those found at Eridu. These crystals appear to store information using quantum entanglement. Each crystal maintains instantaneous connection with all others in the network. When activated, the network would create a planetary consciousness grid, allowing enhanced individuals to share awareness across vast distances. The implications stagger conventional understanding of human potential. If consciousness truly operates through quantum fields, rather than being limited to individual brains, then enhanced humans could function as nodes in a collective intelligence spanning continents. The ancient archives suggest this represents humanity's natural evolutionary trajectory, the path interrupted by the last cosmic catastrophe. You sense the approaching convergence, not just of cosmic cycles, but of human possibility. The 144,000 individuals carrying genetic activation potential exist within current populations, unaware of their biological inheritance. Some experience unusual dreams, enhanced intuition, or spontaneous mathematical insights. These phenomena will intensify as cosmic radiation increases during the approaching debris field encounter. The preservation sites are beginning to exhibit anomalous energy signatures detectable by sensitive instruments. Electromagnetic readings at Eridu show increasing coherence patterns resembling those generated by advanced quantum computers. Similar signatures appear at preservation sites worldwide, suggesting the network is preparing for activation. Government agencies monitor these developments through classified surveillance programs. The strategic implications of consciousness enhancement technology trigger national security protocols designed to control access to genetic activation knowledge. Multiple international task forces coordinate efforts to locate and contain individuals showing premature enhancement symptoms. Dr. Summers' disappearance wasn't accidental. It followed a pattern affecting researchers who uncover sensitive activation protocols. Professor Winters vanished after transmitting her final translations. Other team members report surveillance and psychological pressure designed to discourage further investigation. Yet the knowledge continues spreading through underground networks of researchers, mystics, and individuals experiencing spontaneous enhancement symptoms. The preservation protocols seem designed to activate automatically when cosmic conditions align, regardless of official suppression efforts. The ancient systems appear designed to function independently of human control, responding directly to cosmic triggers that operate on timescales far exceeding any single civilization's lifespan. Alulim's network represents a species-level survival mechanism that transcends individual governments or institutions. Captain Fletcher's final report concluded that the preservation system constitutes humanity's deepest insurance policy, a biological and technological fail-safe designed to ensure conscious evolution continues regardless of surface-level catastrophes. The enhanced individuals emerging from genetic activation would possess capabilities necessary to rebuild civilization using principles lost during previous resets. The cosmic debris field approaching Earth carries more than physical destruction. Analysis of impact residues from previous encounters reveals exotic matter with consciousness-affecting properties. These materials, distributed globally through atmospheric circulation following impacts, create environmental conditions that naturally trigger genetic activation in suitable populations. Sarah Fletcher's atmospheric modeling predicts optimal activation conditions between 2025 and 2030, coinciding with peak debris density and solar magnetic field fluctuations. The convergence of cosmic radiation, exotic matter exposure, and solar electromagnetic chaos will create a perfect storm of consciousness enhancement triggers across the planet. Yet the process requires conscious participation to achieve constructive results. Individuals experiencing genetic activation without proper preparation often develop psychological instabilities, temporal displacement, identity fragmentation, overwhelming, sensory enhancement. The ancient protocols emphasize gradual preparation through meditation, mathematical training, and community support systems. Modern populations lack these support structures, making spontaneous activation potentially dangerous. The preservation sites worldwide appear designed to provide guidance during the transition period, broadcasting instructional frequencies to help activated individuals integrate their enhanced capabilities safely. The crystalline networks function as consciousness stabilization systems, preventing the psychological dissolution that claimed many during previous transitions. Dr. Hartwell's analysis of the exotic matter signatures suggests these materials aren't naturally occurring. They represent remnants of advanced technologies from previous cosmic encounters. Each impact distributes technological debris that enhances biological systems while triggering evolutionary leaps in surviving species. The pattern implies that consciousness enhancement technology has been cycling through Earth's biosphere for millions of years. This discovery fundamentally challenges assumptions about human origins and technological development. If consciousness enhancement materials regularly rain from space during cosmic encounters, then advanced civilizations may arise naturally every 12,800 years, only to be reset by the next impact cycle. Humanity's current technological trajectory follows patterns established by countless previous species that achieved temporary mastery before facing renewal. The genetic archives preserved by Alulim contain memory sequences from multiple previous cycles, suggesting that consciousness itself transcends individual biological incarnations. Enhanced individuals can access these archival memories, experiencing directly the rise and fall of previous civilizations. The knowledge provides both inspiration and warning about the choices facing contemporary humanity. You begin to sense your own connection to these ancient patterns. Perhaps the fascination you feel reading these words reflects genetic memory stirring within dormant neural pathways. The approaching cosmic encounter will determine whether that stirring develops into conscious awakening or remains forever buried beneath the accumulated sediment of another failed cycle. The mathematical precision of the cosmic clockwork suggests intention behind the apparent chaos. Each 12,800-year cycle provides sufficient time for technological civilization to develop, explore its potential, and choose its response to the approaching renewal. Species that achieve sufficient consciousness integration survive the transition and participate in designing the next cycle. Those that remain fragmented face extinction and replacement. Alulim's archives describe this process as the Great Work, conscious participation in planetary evolution spanning geological timescales. Each enhanced individual becomes a collaborative artist in the cosmic symphony, contributing unique perspectives while maintaining harmony with universal principles. The preservation sites function as instruments in this planetary orchestra, each adding its voice to the emerging composition. The approaching crescendo will determine whether humanity joins this eternal collaboration or becomes another archaeological layer for future civilizations to puzzle over. The choice isn't made by governments or institutions, but by individuals awakening to their deeper nature as conscious participants in cosmic evolution. Professor Winters's translations revealed that the consciousness enhancement process creates permanent changes in human neuroplasticity. Enhanced individuals develop new neural pathways that remain stable across generations, passing enhanced capabilities to their offspring. Each successful transition adds to humanity's permanent evolutionary advancement, building upon achievements from previous cycles. The genetic markers preserved in bloodlines worldwide represent accumulated wisdom from multiple cosmic encounters. Some families carry mathematical intuition developed during the height of ancient astronomical civilizations. Others possess enhanced electromagnetic sensitivity from periods when technology achieved direct consciousness-machine interface. The approaching activation will unlock these inherited capabilities simultaneously across the global population, yet the process requires more than passive genetic inheritance. Consciousness must actively participate in its own evolution, making choices that determine whether enhanced abilities serve constructive or destructive purposes. The ancient warnings emphasize that power without wisdom leads inevitably to self-destruction, regardless of technological sophistication. The preservation protocols include detailed guidance for navigating the psychological challenges of consciousness enhancement. Alulim's archives describe meditation techniques designed to maintain individual identity while accessing expanded awareness. The practices emphasize gradual integration rather than sudden transformation, allowing consciousness to adapt slowly to its enlarged capacities. These techniques become crucial as cosmic radiation intensifies during the approaching debris field encounter. Individuals carrying genetic activation markers report increasing instances of precognitive dreams, spontaneous mathematical insights, and electromagnetic sensitivity. Without proper grounding practices, these experiences can become overwhelming, leading to psychological fragmentation or temporal displacement. The ancient texts warn that enhanced consciousness without emotional maturity creates dangerous instabilities. Power amplifies existing psychological patterns, making character development essential for safe navigation of expanded abilities. The preservation sites worldwide appear designed to provide both activation energy and stabilizing guidance during the critical transition period. Dr. Hartwell's geological surveys revealed that the crystalline networks beneath preservation sites generate specific frequency patterns that influence brainwave states in nearby populations. These frequencies naturally induce meditative states conducive to safe consciousness expansion, while filtering out chaotic energies that could trigger psychological breakdown. The sites function as consciousness training facilities, preparing local populations for genetic activation. The mathematical precision of this planetary system suggests coordination across vast timescales by intelligence operating beyond individual human lifespans. Alulim's civilization may have been one node in a cosmic network spanning multiple star systems, each contributing to the maintenance of consciousness evolution protocols throughout the galaxy. This perspective transforms humanity's situation from isolated struggle to collaborative participation in universal development patterns. The approaching cosmic encounter represents not random catastrophe, but scheduled renewal, an opportunity for conscious evolution that occurs throughout the cosmos, according to astronomical mechanics that operate on scales far exceeding planetary or stellar lifetimes. You feel the weight of this cosmic perspective settling into awareness, challenging assumptions about significance and purpose that have shaped human civilization. The preservation of consciousness through cosmic cycles becomes not just survival strategy, but fundamental responsibility. Each generation's contribution to eternal development processes that transcend individual mortality. The genetic activation sequences preserved in Alulim's archives include specific instructions for maintaining cognitive stability during consciousness expansion. Enhanced individuals must learn to function simultaneously across multiple awareness levels: local personal consciousness, expanded empathic connection with nearby minds, and direct interface with quantum probability fields that govern material manifestation. These multi-level awareness capabilities require careful development to prevent psychological overflow between different consciousness streams. The ancient training protocols describe years of preparation necessary to achieve stable integration of enhanced abilities. Modern individuals experiencing spontaneous activation lack this preparation, making community support networks essential for psychological survival during the transition. Captain Fletcher's security analysis revealed government programs designed to identify and isolate individuals showing premature enhancement symptoms. The strategic implications of consciousness enhancement create national security concerns that override academic or humanitarian considerations. Enhanced individuals represent potential assets or threats that must be controlled through official channels. Yet the cosmic activation system appears designed to function despite governmental interference. The preservation sites activate automatically according to astronomical triggers, broadcasting enhancement frequencies that penetrate conventional shielding technologies. The genetic sequences respond to cosmic radiation regardless of official policies, attempting to suppress or control the process. Sarah Fletcher's demographic modeling suggests that enhanced individuals will emerge across all population centers simultaneously, making comprehensive government control impossible. The distributed nature of genetic activation markers ensures that consciousness enhancement spreads through organic social networks rather than centralized institutions, creating grassroots evolutionary pressure that transcends political boundaries. The approaching timeline convergence between cosmic debris field density and optimal genetic activation conditions creates unprecedented opportunities for species-level consciousness evolution. Yet the same conditions that enable enhancement also trigger increased social instability, as existing power structures face challenges from individuals operating with expanded awareness capabilities. Professor Winters's final translations included warnings about the social disruption accompanying consciousness enhancement periods. Enhanced individuals often develop perspectives that conflict with conventional social programming, leading to conflicts between expanding awareness and established institutional authority. The ancient texts describe careful protocols for managing these transitions to minimize social chaos. The preservation sites appear designed to function as community centers during transition periods, providing gathering spaces for enhanced individuals to develop mutual support networks. The crystalline frequency generators create environments conducive to group meditation and collaborative problem-solving using expanded consciousness capabilities. These facilities become essential infrastructure for maintaining social stability during the enhancement period. You recognize that your awareness of these patterns places you within the activation process already underway. The knowledge itself serves as preparation, creating cognitive frameworks necessary for integrating expanded capabilities when cosmic conditions trigger genetic enhancement. Understanding the process provides psychological stability that enables constructive rather than destructive expression of enhanced abilities. The ancient archives emphasize that consciousness enhancement represents opportunity rather than guarantee. Each individual must choose how to respond to expanded awareness. The choice between constructive and destructive application of enhanced abilities determines not only individual fate, but the direction of human evolution during the next cycle. Power without wisdom leads to the same self-destruction that ended previous advanced civilizations, while integrated consciousness contributes to the eternal development process that spans cosmic ages. The mathematical models preserved in Alulim's archives demonstrate how individual consciousness choices aggregate into species-level evolutionary trajectories. Each enhanced individual functions as a quantum node in humanity's collective consciousness field, with personal decisions influencing the probability patterns that determine civilizational outcomes. The approaching cosmic encounter amplifies these individual influences, making personal choice paramount during the critical transition period. Dr. Hartwell's final geological report confirmed that similar transition signatures appear throughout Earth's geological record, each marking periods when previous species achieved consciousness enhancement, followed by either evolutionary advancement or extinction. The pattern suggests that cosmic encounters serve as consciousness examinations, testing whether evolving species have developed sufficient wisdom to handle expanded capabilities responsibly. The exotic matter analysis reveals that consciousness-affecting materials from previous cosmic encounters remain embedded in Earth's geological layers, creating a planetary consciousness archive spanning millions of years. Enhanced individuals can access these deep memory deposits, experiencing directly the successes and failures of countless species that faced similar evolutionary crossroads. This vast perspective provides both inspiration and sobering awareness of the stakes involved in the current transition. The cosmic mechanism operates with mathematical precision, offering opportunities for conscious evolution while eliminating species that prove unable to integrate enhanced capabilities constructively. Humanity's response to the approaching encounter will determine its place in this cosmic educational system. The preservation sites worldwide are beginning to exhibit increasing synchronization as cosmic conditions approach optimal alignment. Electromagnetic readings show coherent frequency patterns linking sites across continents, suggesting the global network is preparing for coordinated activation. Enhanced individuals report powerful dreams and visions, drawing them toward these locations as natural gathering points for community formation. Sarah Fletcher's atmospheric modeling indicates that the debris field's leading edge will begin affecting Earth's magnetosphere within the next 18 months, triggering initial phases of genetic activation in susceptible populations. The enhancement process will unfold gradually over several years, allowing time for social adaptation if proper support structures develop quickly enough. The ancient protocols emphasize the importance of community formation during enhancement periods. Isolated enhanced individuals often develop psychological instabilities or misuse their capabilities, while those embedded in supportive communities achieve stable integration of expanded abilities. The preservation sites appear designed to facilitate these community formation processes through environmental influences that encourage cooperation and mutual support. Captain Fletcher's analysis of global political tensions suggests that the consciousness enhancement process will occur during a period of increasing social instability. Economic systems based on scarcity consciousness face fundamental challenges from enhanced individuals who develop abundance awareness and cooperative rather than competitive orientations. The transition period will require careful navigation to prevent enhanced capabilities from being suppressed through authoritarian responses to social change. Yet, the distributed nature of genetic activation makes centralized suppression ultimately impossible. The cosmic trigger operates independently of human institutions, activating enhancement sequences according to astronomical rather than political timelines. Enhanced individuals will emerge within every population center, creating organic pressure for social adaptation to expanded human capabilities. Professor Winters's linguistic analysis revealed that the consciousness enhancement process includes development of telepathic communication capabilities among activated individuals. This natural networking effect creates coordination abilities that transcend conventional organizational structures, enabling rapid adaptation to changing conditions through direct mind-to-mind information sharing. The development of telepathic networks represents perhaps the most significant aspect of the enhancement process. Enhanced individuals report spontaneous awareness of each other's thoughts and emotions within proximity ranges that expand as capabilities develop. These telepathic connections create natural support systems while enabling collaborative problem-solving using collective intelligence resources. The ancient archives describe advanced phases of enhancement where telepathic networks span continental distances, creating planetary consciousness grids that enable coordinated response to global challenges. The approaching cosmic encounter provides optimal conditions for achieving such network integration, potentially enabling humanity to function as a genuine collective intelligence for the first time in its history. You sense your own integration into these emerging patterns as awareness of the process creates cognitive preparation for direct participation. Knowledge of consciousness enhancement protocols provides psychological frameworks necessary for stable navigation of expanded abilities when cosmic conditions trigger genetic activation. Understanding the process becomes part of the process itself. The recursive nature of consciousness enhancement, where awareness of enhancement enables enhancement, suggests that spreading knowledge of the activation protocols serves as a distributed preparation system. Each individual who understands the process becomes a potential stabilization node for others experiencing spontaneous enhancement during the cosmic encounter. The preservation sites function as consciousness amplification systems, broadcasting both activation frequencies and stabilizing guidance simultaneously. Enhanced individuals gathering at these locations create synergistic effects that accelerate capability development while maintaining psychological stability through community support and shared understanding of the transformation process. The convergence accelerates now, drawing together threads of possibility that have been weaving through human consciousness for millennia. The preservation sites pulse with increasing synchronization, their crystalline networks achieving harmonic resonance that spans continents. Enhanced individuals worldwide report simultaneous visions of ancient memories awakening, genetic sequences activating, and telepathic connections forming with others carrying similar biological inheritances. The 12,800-year cycle approaches completion with mathematical precision that defies coincidence. Cosmic debris density reaches threshold levels that trigger atmospheric changes detectable by sensitive instruments. Government monitoring stations record electromagnetic anomalies consistent with exotic matter infiltration. The ancient clockwork mechanism embedded in Earth's cosmic environment begins its final countdown sequence. Dr. Hartwell's geological surveys confirmed that subsurface resonance patterns beneath preservation sites now exhibit coherent frequency signatures spanning multiple octaves. The crystalline networks are harmonizing into a planetary instrument capable of broadcasting consciousness enhancement frequencies across the entire global population. The activation system designed by Alulim civilization prepares to fulfill its ultimate purpose. You recognize that this knowledge places you at the epicenter of humanity's most significant evolutionary transition. The awareness itself serves as preparation, creating cognitive frameworks necessary for navigating the consciousness expansion that cosmic conditions will trigger within the next several years. Understanding the process becomes participation in the process, as recognition of the patterns enables conscious collaboration with forces that have been shaping human development across geological timescales. The approaching cosmic encounter offers unprecedented opportunities for species-level consciousness evolution. Yet the same conditions that enable enhancement also challenge existing social structures built upon scarcity consciousness and competitive, rather than cooperative organizational principles. Enhanced individuals developing abundance awareness and telepathic networking capabilities will create organic pressure for fundamental social adaptation. The ancient archives preserved by Alulim contain detailed guidance for navigating these transition challenges. The texts emphasize that consciousness enhancement serves constructive purposes only when integrated with emotional maturity and ethical development. Power without wisdom leads inevitably to the same self-destruction that ended previous advanced civilizations, while integrated awareness contributes to eternal development processes that transcend individual mortality. Sarah Fletcher's final computational models predict optimal activation windows occurring between 2027 and 2029, when cosmic debris density, solar magnetic field fluctuations, and planetary electromagnetic resonance achieve simultaneous peak amplification. These conditions will trigger genetic activation sequences in approximately 144,000 individuals worldwide, creating a critical mass of enhanced consciousness sufficient to influence collective human development trajectories. The preservation protocols include specific instructions for maintaining social stability during transition periods. Enhanced individuals must learn to function as bridges between expanding consciousness and conventional social programming, facilitating adaptation rather than triggering destructive conflicts between new awareness and established institutional authority. The success of this bridging function determines whether consciousness enhancement leads to evolutionary advancement or civilizational collapse. Captain Fletcher's security analysis concluded that the consciousness enhancement process represents humanity's greatest strategic opportunity and simultaneously its most dangerous vulnerability. Enhanced capabilities enable solutions to global challenges that conventional approaches cannot address, while misapplication of those same capabilities could destabilize existing social orders catastrophically. The transition requires unprecedented wisdom and coordination to achieve constructive outcomes. The telepathic networking capabilities developing among enhanced individuals create natural coordination systems that transcend conventional organizational structures. These mind-to-mind communication networks enable rapid adaptation to changing conditions through direct information sharing and collaborative problem-solving using collective intelligence resources. The ancient texts describe advanced phases where such networks achieve planetary scope, enabling humanity to function as genuine collective intelligence. Professor Winters's final translations revealed that the consciousness enhancement process includes access to genetic memory archives spanning multiple cosmic cycles. Enhanced individuals can experience directly the successes and failures of previous civilizations that faced similar evolutionary crossroads, providing wisdom accumulated across vast timescales for navigating current transition challenges. This cosmic perspective transforms individual participation from isolated struggle to collaborative contribution in eternal development processes that operate throughout the galaxy, according to astronomical mechanics exceeding planetary lifetimes. The approaching encounter represents scheduled renewal rather than random catastrophe, an opportunity for conscious evolution that occurs throughout the cosmos as intelligence develops sufficient sophistication to participate in universal consciousness networks. The 12th out 800-year secret is no longer secret. The last Anunnaki king sleeps no more. In every genetic activation, every enhanced intuition, every spontaneous understanding of patterns that seemed impossibly complex just moments before, Alulim's preservation protocols fulfill their ancient purpose. The Guardians wake, the knowledge returns, and humanity stands once again at the threshold between one age and the next. You carry this knowledge now, as Alulim intended, not as burden, but as gift. The cosmic clockwork turns with inexorable precision, yet individual consciousness retains the power to choose how humanity responds to its approaching appointment with evolutionary destiny. The preservation sites await. The enhancement networks prepare for activation. The star returns, bringing both destruction and renewal in equal measure. The choice of what to create from this convergence remains yours, as it always has, as it always will, until the stars complete their great rotation and the cycle begins anew, carrying forward whatever wisdom humanity proves capable of integrating during its passage through this cosmic threshold into whatever lies beyond.